Saturday though. It seemed like it's been like long camp, but it hasn't.
No.
Nah, in my mind, because I wanted to fight so bad, it felt like it's been like months.
Yeah. Here, what do I hear you? Let me see that. Right there?
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Good.
There it is.
All right, cool.
Sweet, because I was gonna say, like, I knew that when it was kickboxing, it says kickboxing Muay Thai. I think it's exactly what it says on the card.
Yeah. I think kickboxing.
Kickboxing?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be good, because I'm bringing people, and I was like, I go, you guys don't want to miss it. I brought him to the one where Mason did the Superman jump punch.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I have never seen people that that was their first fight.
Yeah.
Their first fight was seeing Mason jump sky high twice and hit the dude straight up and then chuck his mouthpiece. My buddy brought his wife. Mouthpiece like flew right by her. She was like, might as well have been starstruck. She's like, oh my God. And I was like, they go, we want to go to the one on the 22nd.
Yeah.
Then I started looking it up and then had the chance to, be the corner sponsor for the event. So it's super cool that you're on that as well.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I was like, that dude's in trouble. Well, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, he's in big trouble.
Oh yeah. He's in trouble because usually, like I said, a lot of people don't know that I do have a wrestling base. I wrestled in college.
I didn't.
Yeah, when you train with me, like just like a lot of people when we were at OP the first time, my first time training with them, they're like, "Oh, you box? Your background?" I was like, "No, actually, it was wrestling." I was like, my first 10 fights, I used my wrestling offensively all the time, just straight takedown defense, takedowns, ground and pound all day.
Yeah.
And I was getting a TKO or KO in the first round. But then I was like, I want to learn how to strike. I was naturally faster than everybody because when I started like 2011, there wasn't a lot of flyweights, so I had to fight at bantamweight and featherweight a few times.
Right.
So I was naturally faster than everybody, but I was way smaller. But at the time, I was still in school, so
You could keep going.
I didn't really work. So all I did was train all day, every day. So like, I would hear these guys who go to weigh-ins. I remember just like a lot of the times, like I said, I was a lot smaller because I was wrestling at college. I was wrestling at 126, and I was walking around like 127, 128 at the time when I started fighting. And I remember I had to weigh in, like put my clothes on, a backpack, water bottles in it. The athletic commission back then, they weren't really strict at all. They didn't check that. It was like, hey, if you step on the scale and the weight's good, you're good to go. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I was like, I'm way underweight.
Get the backpack in the water.
Yeah, like put water bottles in the backpack, step on the scale, and I'm like, all right, barely made the weight. I was just like a pound under. So I was like, all right, cool.
Like,
We're good.
That was a tough one for me.
Yeah, I was like, and these guys are struggling to get down, and I would hear them talk with their corner, like we step off the scale. I'm like, oh, he's small. We're about to ragdoll him. I'm like, all right. I was like, we're gonna see.
Sure.
I was like, dude, I fucking do this all day, every day. So I was like, all right, we're gonna see, and we'll get in there and fight, dude. And they're surprised. They're always expecting me to be a lot faster speed wise, but they don't expect the strength and power I have.
Yeah, for sure.
And it threw a lot of them off. They're like, oh fuck, this dude's a lot stronger than he looks.
So I'm like, you're describing me. That's how. So I wore this. This is my superhero suit. Because to me, you were like the Flash. Like, I remember, I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, that's the first 8-pack I think I've ever seen. I was like, I've never seen an 8-pack before. I thought it was a myth, And here you are, and you're like, I come in, I think it's like a Saturday. No, it's not Saturday. It has to be like, I came in late, but there was sparring, and I'm like,
I think it was a Friday.
Yeah.
Also on Friday sparring, I think so.
Yeah, I'm like, I still want to get some work, And then it was like that area where everyone had gone with you already, and you were like kind of trying to find someone. I'm like, I'll take it, And you were nice. Like I by the end of the round, I was like, this dude was really nice to me because I watched you because I think I'd been there 4 or 5 months. And about that time, you could start to think like, oh, I got it. Like, I know how to do these things. And I remember it was just like, jab, jab. and I'm just like trying not to like, but then after like the myriad that was you punching me, I could still see you like feinting things, like you could throw them, and I'm like, this guy is something. Like he's good at his fucking job, and I'm like, and it's nice because I've always been like you said, small.
Yeah.
So like I'm always like, do you have a medium like in the back or something? And everyone's like, oh no, like I wanted to learn how to do these things because it's not necessarily about like, oh, I'm the biggest guy, because usually they're really tense and they're doing things wrong. So I was like, if you're loose and small, you can sneak into the gaps.
Yeah, yeah.
And people like under the radar, they ignore that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I was like, super the Flash Kendrick over here, like, and he showed me kindness. Same with Nathan. I was like, Nathan, you could have killed me, and you did not.
It's always good to keep like a good sparring culture, and like same with rolling. If you're drilling, I told a few guys a couple weeks ago, because they said the same thing. Whenever I spar with anyone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can give you work without trying to like hit you hard, or like,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? If you hit me hard, I'm just gonna I'm not mad. Like it depends. Like if you're brand new to it and it's your first time sparring or rolling, I'm not gonna fucking kill you, because
Right.
I remember when I first started, I didn't know the like gym etiquette for it. Like, all right, how hard do I go? How
Oh
fast do
yeah.
I go? So like everybody that starts out, they always go as fast as they can or hard as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So when I work with somebody like that, I'm not gonna get mad. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna pressure the shit
Pressure.
out of them.
I felt it. I felt it, and it was just really like that's a culture that's super important, because most of them, not most, all of them, like all the guys that I've been in the gym with, it
Yeah.
is that. But if you decide, hey, like if you're new and like your ego gets hurt
Yeah.
and you start to go up, it's not gonna get any better, because then you're like, okay, if you're gonna throw 80% at me, like I'm 8-0.
Yeah.
Like you're not the level of competition that I've had before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you match it, then that's good. But also like Gomi is a good example of like the wrestling
Yeah.
background. He was like, because he would watch me in like that 8-month period where I was there like Monday through Friday, 2 classes. And he was like also my gauge. He was like, I know that you can hit this level, so I'm going to pressure you into doing
Yeah.
that thing. And it's usually just a big ego contest on most of these other gyms,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but not there. So
Yeah.
I was very grateful to find like people like you and of course Trey, who runs the thing, and I'm very blessed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
could have gotten just beat up for like 6 months straight and been like, I didn't learn anything.
Yeah. It was definitely a great culture in there when it comes to guys not having a ego problem. A few times, it's a sparring. Sometimes guys get in the heat of the moment, so
Mm.
that's expected. When you got guys who have experience, sometimes they pick it up. But then you pick it up with them. You know what I mean? Like I said, it depends on the person how hard I'm gonna go with them. If they're another experienced person,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of, it's just like silent agreement we have with each other.
Yes,
We
you
always
can't.
start out light and
It's
then
like
we gradually pick it up. So I
yeah,
was like, yeah, all right, this is what we're doing.
that's training though. That's time in
Yeah.
the gym. That's understanding that agreement, because it is silent. It's not like we like there's no signal. Woo! Like
Yeah.
it's just like you're like, okay, like you agree like every minute. It's like we're gonna get higher, higher, higher. But yeah, it's funny that you said that you had a wrestling background.
Mhm.
One, I had no idea, and two, all I knew you for was how fast, and it's something that was taught to me, which was when I did Muay Thai. It was like my jab was always there, but it was
Yeah.
always kind of like touching, and it was like if you keep it kind of loose and like really pop it
Yeah.
and bring it back, those are the ones that they're like, oh shit. And I did that one time, and I go, that's what Kendrick does. I legit was like, oh, he like snaps quick, and it's like when you come to someone who has experience, but also like an understanding of like how to throw,
Yeah.
then you can gauge not only the percentage but also distance like super quick.
Sure.
And I'm like, that's how I want to look. And so you were my example for that. How did you learn the speed? You said speed was natural.
The speed was always natural for me, because I was like the heaviest I've been. A lot of people don't know unless you went to high school with me. I used to be 172. It's just
What?
like I wasn't fat or anything. I was like built still the same. But I
You were
was big.
172
Yeah,
with an 8-pack?
just muscle. Yeah. I used to lift heavy every day, and I was playing football too, and I was wrestling, so I was big. But I wasn't running as much.
Yeah.
Uh, I changed my diet around because I was like I said I was obsessed with speed. I always wanted to be the faster guy,
Yeah.
whatever I was doing. So I was like, all right, I don't like my speed where I'm at 172. So I was like, I'm gonna start lifting light, but doing a lot of reps, and I'm gonna start running a little bit more and do more sprints.
Mm-hmm.
Change my diet. I stopped drinking soda. Stopped eating fast food, fried food, and my weight just went down like
Yeah.
fast.
I think the heaviest I've ever been was 168, 170.
Yeah.
And I just looked like I had like drank too much water. I was like really bloated, like just puffy. And I was like, what am I eating? It was just like just shoving things in my mouth just to get bigger because I thought big was the thing. And then I realized, if I was watching it, I was watching you. It was like if they throw like a 3 combo, you can double it like the same amount.
Yeah.
And usually that last little like check hook or something there that catches them because they weren't anticipating you being that fast. And that's always the ones. It's the ones you don't see coming like out of the eye line, and you've already processed it so quick. And so I'm like, now I'm not like terrified. I used to be terrified to go out and be like, what if there's a problem?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. Now I'm like, it's fine. Most people don't know what to do, but I'm unless I'm in the gym with these guys,
Yeah.
I'm pretty good in any situation. And even that confidence is nice to have to take outside of that situation. But I would never guess that you were
Oh yeah.
170. I'm not saying that in a rude
No,
way.
yeah, no, you're good. I get that all the time. Unless, like I said, you went to high school with me, then like
Yeah.
because I get people now that was on the wrestling team. I was like, man, you got skinny, bro.
Yeah.
That's like what happened to you? I was like, I just started working out a lot more, man. Like
Yeah.
and running more. I started doing a lot, and I was like, it changed my diet a lot. So I was like, yeah. The weight came off naturally, and I was like, yeah. So the speed was always a thing for me, and then I just started getting faster the smaller I got. Like I said, when I got into it, I was relying more on my wrestling offensively. Most of the time in the fights, I would just wrestle.
Was this just a transition from like another level of competition? You didn't want to stop competing from
Uh,
wrestling, and then you wanted to do MMA
oh no,
or pursue?
I always wanted to do MMA. My first fight I saw like was Anderson Silva when he fought on King of the Cage.
Mm.
I forget the guy he fought, but it was one of the knockouts where he just hit that elbow,
So smooth.
knocked the guy like
Boom.
that. And I was like, because originally I wanted to box,
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, and I'm just channel surfing one day as a kid, and I see that I was like, what the fuck is that?
I like all of that.
I was like, I want to do that. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that was a thing, and I was like, I like that guy. That guy is cool. So I started watching all of Anderson Silva's fights, and I was like, yeah, I want to, because I was like, that guy's like he's a skinny guy too, like
Yeah.
and he's like just fucking just
He,
fighting all these big dudes and making them look easy. And I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to fight just like that guy. And I was like, I want to be that guy making these big dudes look easy.
They call him the Spider for a reason.
Yeah.
He's got 8 arms, man. He's so quick.
He was good, man. And like my dream was to fight him one day. But then I realized I was like, yeah, with genetics and the way I
Well.
like work, I was like, I'll never be up at that weight to fight him. So I was like, I was like, hopefully in the future, I get a chance just do like some tech sparring with him. That's the closest thing, and I'll be like, all right, dream come true right there with him.
Yeah.
Cause I already met like Roy Jones. He's one of my favorite boxers I watched growing up. But
You got to meet him.
oh yeah, I met him I didn't even know he was at this fight. It was a short notice fight for UFC Fight Pass. Dana White was supposed to be there that day too. It was for his show. That's when he started looking for a fight.
Oh, yeah.
I went down there because Dana White was going to be down there. I was like, yeah, I'll drive down there. It was in Florida.
Yeah. You
So,
drove to Florida.
Yeah, it was a crazy drive there. I had worked. I used to work at a dealership, so I would get there at like 6 in the morning. I wouldn't get off until like 6:30 p.m., 7 p.m. sometimes. So I got off of work at like 7 p.m. Went straight to St. Louis to pick up 2 of my corners.
Mm-hmm.
I drove there. I tried to get somebody else to drive.
Yeah.
They didn't want. They were like, "Oh, I'm tired." I was like, "Oh, excuse me. I
I'm
didn't
about
work
to
all."
fight at this
I was
thing in
like,
Florida.
"I've cut the weight on top of it. I had cut the
Dude.
weight." And I was like, "All right, excuse me. I didn't work like almost 11, 12 hours." I was like, "All right, whatever. I'll drive more." I drove like I think it was like 4 or 5 hours in. I was like, "All right, I need to get some sleep. I'm tired, man."
Yeah.
Uh, it was another fighter, Demetrius Wilson. I let him drive, and he scared the shit out of me. Cause it was raining hard, and he was just
No, no, no,
driving
no.
fast as shit. And then like somehow I woke up at the wrong time, and I see like a semi in front of us. And I was like, "Yo," I was like, "Dude, pull over." I
You're
was
like,
like,
no, no, no.
I'm gonna drive. I'm awake now." I was like, "I'm not tired. I'm awake." So I ended up. It was
You're
a,
like, I'm awake.
it was a 14-hour drive. So I was like, "Yeah." I drove the entire way there, and then I drove back. But yeah, I drove. We get there to the fights, and we found out that Dana White's not going to be there because it was the same day Jones popped dirty for his fight where they had to move the event to what I think Vegas. Did they move it to Vegas or
Yeah,
Cali?
Vegas.
Yeah, they moved it from Cali to Vegas, and I was like, "Fuck." That made me not like Jones at that point because I was
Yeah.
like, "Damn, he made it to where Dana White wasn't gonna be there." Because I was like, "I'm gonna knock this guy out." Because dude was like pumped. He was saying he was going to knock me up. I was like, "Oh, we'll see."
Yeah.
Everybody says that, and they don't
Always.
try.
Yeah, they're always trying to just generate something. Yeah.
I was like, "You can try." I was like, "Good. You're going to be playing into my game. What I want to do all the time is like, I love striking."
Yeah.
So like, I was like, Dana White's not here. So I was like, "Fuck." I was going to knock this guy out. I was like, "I'm not going to risk getting out." Because like, I was going to take some chances to knock him, like try to knock him out like in a fantastic fashion. Because like, all right. I don't like shy away for opportunity. If I get an opportunity, I'm gonna make the most of it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like
Absolutely.
freeze and that shit because like I didn't have a lot of opportunity growing up. So I was like, when I get it, I fucking try to shine in it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, Dana's not here. I'm gonna just play with this guy. I'm gonna just beat his ass for 3 rounds. I was like, I'm not gonna risk nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So like the fight goes on, and I'm doing everything that Roy Jones does in his fights, all his like signature taunts.
Like, oh,
And,
yeah.
yeah,
You start
that-
doing the I'm Roy Jones.
Arms behind the back, check hook right off of that. I'm raising my hands up, 1-2 straight off of that. And I was beating the dude's ass real bad. It made him look easy, and he was a legit guy. Like fucking, I think he was like top 5 in Southeast, Southwest rankings, and
No way.
yeah, he's top 5, and like he's a tough dude. He's knocking out people too. He had knockout power, but I made him look easy. And then after the fight, I go back to the locker room, and then I see Roy Jones. I was like, "What the fuck?"
I thought you weren't supposed to be here.
Yeah, I didn't know he was there. And then he's like, just give me all type of praise. He's like, "Dude, you remind me of myself when I was younger." He's like, "You're so
Holy
good." I was
cow.
like, I was starstruck for a little bit because I was like, "Dude, you don't understand." I'm pretty sure you hear this a lot, but I was like, "You're legit one of my favorite boxers, like top 2 favorite
Yeah.
boxers." I was like,
I was
grew
doing
up-
your thing in there.
I was like, I
doing the
grew
thing.
up watching you. I was like, I had no idea you were here. I was just doing that like because that was me. Because I was like, that's something I took from watching you, and I was like, I take certain things from my favorite fighters and try to mesh it with my style. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's just something I did, and I was like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. And I was like, yeah, I met him. Now I just got to meet Pacquiao and then Anderson Silva, and that'd be like everybody I want to meet.
Oh, you want to meet those
I
two?
want to meet those two. Those are
Okay,
the only 2 people that I want to meet, and probably Mike Tyson, but those 2 are my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy story because like you guys all have the same attitude. It's
Yeah.
like I will to other people, not to keep dogging on the general population, but it's like that's why it was so contagious to be around you guys. It's like even though I wasn't going to fight, like even though I wasn't going to be in there, I can every day visually see like a little bit of me get better.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes me like go into the next day like better, like just keep going, like keep leveling up. So it's like if you put yourself in situations where it's like if you're in the fire, right, and you're like figure out a way to get out,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, if that happens again, I already figured out how to get through a really tough situation. So you were like, I don't give a, I have to drive to Florida to try and get this chance. Was it to try to get Dana's attention and be like, hey, I want you in?
I wanted to get that contract because if you look at the flyweight division in the UFC,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have many knockout artists.
You don't.
they're finishers, they're submission artists, or you get most of the wins at flyweight. It's all decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, I'm one of the few that have the knockout power, and I finish fights. So I was like, majority of my wins from amateur to pro are knockouts.
Yeah.
I was like, I have a few decision wins and then like a few decision losses, but like even with the losses, like they're bad decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Like a bad split decision
Yeah,
or something. Yeah.
bad split decisions.
You're like, where everyone's like this. What?
yeah,
They're like,
it's,
boo.
it's a lot of those, you know.
Yeah.
But you know that was my thing, was to drive down there and press,
Mhm.
because I'm like, I have the knockout power, but I don't look it.
Yeah.
And that's exciting to watch when you look at somebody like with my frame and I'm fighting dudes like that look jacked and I'm
Mhm.
just knocking them the fuck out. That's exciting.
Well, it's like Volkanovski. He was over 200 pounds, and he's
Yeah.
fighting 140. He's like, you still know how to use 200 pounds. So you were 170.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm throwing 170 at
I still have the
125.
power.
Wow. And I mean, like I said, if you look at, I was looking your stats up just to, you know, do my research, and it was like knockout. It was like super long and green. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And you go down, and it's like, he definitely has that power. And I noticed like the split decision. It was like, if I went and like researched that
Yeah.
fight, no one agreed with the decision split. And I'm like, okay. And you're right. Most of the UFC flyweights, I mean, Molina,
Yeah.
he's that too. I mean, he's a guy who also has striking very similar to yours. So you guys have like the same. I wanted to be like you guys. So the way
Yeah.
you're talking about these UFC guys that you look up to, you guys were like my inspiration in the gym. And I'm like, okay, how do I get speed up and this and that? And they don't have a lot. Usually it's either decision or they're two really fast dudes who are throwing, and they'll get one good clean hit
Yeah.
and miss the rest of them. And then they have to go to the ground or do something.
And it's just hard, period. Because if you look out, not just the UFC, outside and any organization, or just look nationally, right? And you look at the flyweight division, most of the wins are, like I said, either subs or decisions. But it's hard to knock guys out at that level, or especially when you have guys that got cardio
Mm-hmm.
for days. And it's just hard. But like I said, there's very few guys that can do it, put the lights out, or.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
you
I was
can.
one of those guys.
I'm
that
feeling
can
it
do
as you're looking at me. I'm like, please don't do it. Don't show the audience. Right to chase. But no, you mentioned earlier about you didn't have many opportunities
No,
coming up.
Not
Do you
at
have a twin brother?
No.
I was looking stuff up. I'm like, does he have a twin brother, dude?
Everybody think we're twins. I'm actually 3 years older than him. Everybody, like, growing up, my mom, she would buy us the same outfit. So like every time we go out, we dress the same. Everybody, we're twins. I was like, no, I'm actually the older brother by 3 years.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
They were like, are you sure?
We just look the same.
You're like, yeah, I'm sure. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and he fights too. So like, we grew up in like rough neighborhoods. So I got into more trouble than they did growing up.
Yeah.
And you know, I saw the side of it. So I was like, yeah, I don't want that for my younger brother. So I was like, all right, I got them into training with me before they can get into like the streets like I was.
Yeah.
And get in trouble. So I was like, all right.
That's like a Leon Edwards situation where his mom put him in the gym before he got to the gangs. Yeah.
I was like, all right, you guys are coming with me, and like it was this thing, man. Like it was a turning point for me because it was a point where my brother came up to me, the one that you said looked like a twin.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with gangs a lot, man. I was doing bad shit.
Yeah.
And he just came up to me. He's like, "Oh, you with this gang?" And then I could see his face was like lit up.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking to myself in that moment, I was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't have him looking up at that shit. I was like, fuck that.
He can't look up to that.
Yeah, I was like, no, I got to change because, like, I'm protective as shit. Like, when it comes to my family or anybody I'm close to, I'm super protective. So I was like, all right, I can't have him doing that because, like, my mental is a little bit different from my brothers. I was like, all right, they grew up in the streets too, but I'm like, my street smarts is better than theirs, or I'm a little bit more alert than they are, like in a certain situation. So I'm like, all right, I don't want them to be in that situation because they might react a little bit different. So I was like, all right, that made me think, and I was like, I gotta stop doing that. Once he came up to me, asked me that, and I saw his face and his eyes.
How old?
I was like, I was 14.
Okay, yeah, and he's 3 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were like 11-year-old kid.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, nah, that's not cool.
That's good recognizing that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I gotta stop. So I start changing my behavior in school. Start making sure my grades are going up. I stopped hanging out with everybody. Just changed my friend group, and I was like, all right. I started getting more in touch with like the coaches there and my teachers. So like, especially my coaches,
Mm-hmm.
they seen like how bad I wanted to just improve. Cause like, not only like I'm super competitive too. Even if I'm playing team sports, I want to stand out.
Yeah.
And out of the whole team. So like, I would get to practice early. I would leave last, and then I would go home and I'll practice on that for extra 3-4 hours, and do it again.
Dude, that's the rarest thing I'm finding on earth.
Yeah.
That attitude. Yeah.
And that made me, like I said, it made me change. So like, my coaches saw that how much work I was putting, like whatever I did, I put so much focus into it, and they saw how much work I was putting into it. So it was like, hey man, you're doing stuff by yourself outside the gym. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like putting extra 3-4 hours into it. It's like, all right, cool. Well, we're gonna take you to another gym then. So they start, especially my wrestling coaches. I had a wrestling coach from another school. He would call me. He's like, hey man, I got this dojo I'm gonna go to. I got a bunch of guys. We're gonna roll around for probably a couple hours. He's like, are you down? I was like, yeah. Can I bring my brothers?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like, hell yeah. The more people, and he's like super involved with the community. He's like passionate about the sport itself, and he care about the athletes. This guy is like, everybody knows him in St. Louis, everyone, because like he said, he's one of those coaches who care. He never asks for anything. He just asks for you to just try, put just effort. You know what I mean? Like, he will pick us up. He like pick everybody up, drop them back off at home, and like we stop, get some food after. Like
That's
after
the
practice,
best.
it was great, man. Like he loved it because he liked working out with us. Cause he's like, it just made him. It brought the youth out in him, because he's like, all right, I get to roll around with all these young athletes coming up, and they're all good, and I got
to. This dude's 170.
Yeah. he loved it, man. And so my brothers, they saw me doing that, and they're like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. So we all I did MMA like at 17. At the time we weren't supposed to. You have to be 18, but like I said, they weren't strict at all. So they didn't check IDs or nothing. I was like, you're 18? I was like, yeah, I'm 18. I didn't even look it. I had a baby face. They're like, you're 18? I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm 18.
That's why I got this, man. If I don't, they're like,
it started growing when I got a little older, but I'm like, I had a baby face, man. But they're like, yeah, you're 18. There's like, it checks out. Yeah, go fight. I'm 17. My first fight.
Checks out. They were like, "What you check out?"
And you're waiting, and I'm like, I don't even have my grown man body at all. So I'm like, I'm weighing in with a backpack on. So I'm like, my first fight, I'm 17 years old, and I fight a dude. He's like 34.
Oh my gosh!
And he already had like fights. He had like 4 or 5 fights in, and I was like, I was nervous as shit, because they were like, oh, this dude's he's a real good striker. He's like brawling type, and I was like, fuck. I'm not like confident in my striking all the way. At the time, I was like, I'm a good wrestler, but I was like, I don't know if I want to get hit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I get in there. We get in there, and like he hits it. Like, you know, your adrenaline's pumping, and he hits me, and I'm like, oh, this is not that bad. I thought it was gonna hurt more than this. And I like, as soon as the first few shots he hit me with, and I thought like, because he was bigger than me, and I was like, wow. This is nothing. I was like, I get hit harder than this in practice. And I'm like,
you've grown,
so
man.
My confidence like went up in that instance, because like he cracked me, but it wasn't hard to me.
Yeah.
The crowd probably was like, oh, but I was like, holy fuck, it's not. My confidence oh shit, okay. So I was like,
did you start turning up?
I started turning up on him. And then he tried to wrestle me, and I was like, oh, you're trying to wrestle the wrestler. So like, I just picked him up and like slammed the shit out of him and like choked him out.
Dude, that's incredible. It's like I was watching Canelo say the same thing. It's like, I was young and boxing adults. And I'm like, oh, he goes, knocking them out.
Yeah, like, it does stuff. Like, it does things for your confidence. And I tell, like, people that come in the gym too, like new members and everything, I was like, hey, man, you don't even have to compete to do this. I was like, I have a bunch of friends who don't compete, and they come here and they spar, they roll, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, it boosts their confidence in life or whatever they want to do. Because I'm like, you can come here and hang and touch some pro fighters that like that make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Cause like we've done it so long, it's normal. It's a normal thing for us to just punch each other and laugh right
Yeah.
afterwards.
Oh, dude, yeah, I remember that too. I was like, that's a good one.
You know what I mean?
Let's
We're
go,
like
man.
most people like, and I talk to like people I work with, and they're like, "Oh no, I can't have nobody hit me. I'll get fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I'll black out." I was like, "Really? It's not that serious." I was like,
Yeah, it's not a big deal, man.
But like, that's the normal though. Like for
Yeah.
us, it's not. That's not normal for us because like we've done it so long, and it's like it's normal for us to get hit in the face, and
Yeah.
we're not gonna flip out or black out. I was like, "Oh, good shot, man, good shot," and like.
Yeah.
I tell like those guys, I was like, it's not that bad. Like I said, it does things to your confidence, but when you do it for a long time, and then your skill set's gonna get up. You don't have to like compete, but
Yeah.
still your skill set's gonna grow. So you can be a high level fighter, not actually fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then when you're training with actual fighters that are high level, and you guys, like I said, you have this silent agreement of how you're sparring, and then you start picking up the intensity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you watch anime, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they have it like any anime, right? Especially Naruto. So like when you have two high level shinobis, same thing with fighting.
Yeah.
You guys exchange blows. You could read each other's heart and mind. What type
Oh,
of
it's
person?
yeah,
You could tell what
it's
type
so
of
in
person that
sync.
guy
It's
is.
also nothing else is around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like this. I don't know if it's what you said, but it's so true. It's like I remember I used to do the blink
Yeah.
and like this thing, and for whatever it just goes away after a while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And you know, you, Gomi, and a lot of these guys who are piecing me. It's just like over time when your body gets used to getting hit, it's like you learn to just keep the eyes open. And I remember like bringing new people in. So I'm gonna ask you if you've done this, because you don't have to bring them in anywhere. You can just be like, hey, would you like to put gloves on?
Yeah.
Because I would bring people in thinking they say that, oh, I'm tough, this, that, think they can fight. And that was my clue in, because I brought them into Glory, and then they would do that. I'm gonna spar. I'm like, you don't do that. Like, give it a couple weeks, man. Like, don't do that. And they were like, what, you don't think I can handle myself? I'm like, exactly. Don't go in there. Like, you can't handle yourself, because you're either gonna get like laid out because you got angry and like started throwing like a crazy person because you don't know how to control that shit yet.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna like never come back because you realize you can't fight and it's too much for you.
Yeah.
And it's usually one of those two. And my favorite was I brought someone in for like a technical Muay Thai class, and they found out very quickly, like even just me, they trust me. I'm their friend. Training, doing this, they do the look away, or they do like the anticipate it.
Yeah.
And then I like cut the angle and I'm like, dead. I was like, keep your eyes open, you know? And it's just stuff like that is just learned over time and wanting to get better. So when I was not necessarily like, I wanted to fight for the wrong reasons. I wanted like the gratification, the show. It wasn't about competitive. I wanted like to be like something important or whatever. I don't know. I was a kid like a couple years ago, 3 years ago. And then I just fell in love with the process of getting better. And then, like you said, you realize that when you go with Gomi or go with you and like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting way better.
Yeah.
That's the boost. That's my confidence boost.
I don't think there's a wrong reason for a fight. I think it's a good outlet for anything. Whatever your motivation is for a fight, I think it's a valid reason for you to fight. You know,
Yeah.
Not everybody's the same.
That's true.
You know,
I guess I should preface for me, like, so I have, like I said, I have my kiddo, and I was looking at, like, so I was training a lot, and he would be there, and, you know, that was I was still doing it, but vanity was something I was looking for,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I got this guy right here who hugs me at the end of the practice and goes like, Daddy can fight, and I'm like, that's like, so for me, that was all I needed. That was like, okay, yeah, I want to protect you, that's it.
Yeah.
So that for me, that was just where I still want to get in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's such a weird feeling, because it's like when you do it, you're like, ooh, that was fun.
Yeah.
But when you haven't had one, I'm over here like, I want to at least taste it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Feel like everybody should. You know, like,
yeah.
I always tell people, I was like, dude, you're not gonna fight fucking a world champion right away, because
Yeah.
like that's what, because everybody watch TV and movies a lot, so they think my first fight is going to be somebody who's like undefeated, like 10-0 or some shit. I was like, no, dude, you're going to fight somebody the same level as you.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna
0
be
0
feeling
1 0.
they're gonna be feeling the same as you, scared as shit and nervous. So
Yeah.
it's like, dude, it's not what you think. I always try to tell people that. I was like, they're like, oh, I don't know if I can take getting punched. I was like, you got your adrenaline, man. I was like, trust me. I was like, I thought the same shit my first few
It is.
fights,
It's
and
weird.
it's like when your adrenaline's going, you don't feel shit. Like you
Yeah.
feel it, but it's dulled down a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
And I've never been at that level
yeah,
of adrenaline, but I've been to the point where like you get hit, and then for me it like narrows the vision
yeah,
to what we're in this now. Like you, nothing else. It just like a horse with the eye
yeah,
things, and I'm like, God, watch for things.
yeah.
So I understand that, but I don't know that level.
Oh, you'll get there, man. Like if you try it, like I said, if you try your first fight, man, and you're gonna be like, oh, he told me it was gonna be like that.
Hmm.
It's like that for everyone. I always tell people, and then like I have some fighters like, man, you're right. It wasn't that bad. I was like, I bet you had fun though. Well,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. We
Yeah.
did it again. I was like, yeah, dude, like you don't feel it. Like I said, like your adrenaline's pumping. You got your endorphins pumping at the same time. So you're like, you're fucking in the zone,
Yeah.
but you're having fun. And then
It's
like
the
you
most
hear the
addicting
crowd,
thing.
you're in the moment. So you're like, yeah, I gotta come back for more. But I feel like everyone should experience. Like I said, everybody have their different goals and different reasons why they fight.
Hmm.
But I feel like ultimately in the end, it all comes down. Everybody have the same feeling towards fighting
Yeah.
because you do it long enough and you do get what you reach your goals in fighting and do get what you want,
Hmm.
and it then your goals kind of change. Or even if you don't reach your goals in it, you do it long enough, your goals start to shift a little bit
Hmm.
towards it. So I feel like everybody that's been fighting for a while, because you notice like all the old retired fighters, they have the same mannerism towards fighting,
Yeah.
same ideals towards it.
You're right.
It becomes the same.
It's all the same. Well, what was your reason for fighting? Was it seeing the TV, or were you like, I can change where my family's at type of deal?
My reason, it was a little bit of both, because I used to be a quiet kid, man. Like if you wouldn't know that now, because like I talk a lot, like we be in
Yeah.
the gyms, dude, like
I'm
we're
like,
all saying we're about to go, but we keep the conversation going for like two
yeah.
3 hours, and our girls are like, where are you guys, where are you, you're supposed to be at home, you said you're done.
No, it's 9 o'clock.
I
We're
was like, oh
outside.
shit, it is 9 o'clock. We're like hang up and like, all right, we're gonna wait, but start a conversation again. But yeah, I used to be such a quiet kid, so it was like I stayed to myself. But I used to get bullied too. I was in Chicago. Like I used to I grew up in Chicago, so you can't let people bully you there. Not where I grew up, because
Like,
if
what? Just like at all? Like,
at all, don't let them like talk about you. Don't let them bully you. Um, if you do, they'll do it
mm,
every day.
they
So
just got to see that they get in once, and they're
yeah,
like, oh,
even if you get beat up, they'll
yeah.
leave you alone. That's
Oh,
how it
dope.
is. So like my thing, I was getting bullied, but I didn't do anything about it. I was letting the kids, because I was quiet and I was scared,
Mm-hmm.
and but I had a temper at the same time. So like it was he pushed me to my like boiling point. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna hit this kid back. And I just whooped his ass. And I was like, and I looked at I was in awe, because I was like, dude, this dude bullied me for weeks. And I was like, looking at myself like I was a superhero. I was
It
like,
just took this, dude.
yeah, this took that. I was like, wow, is this what I'm meant to be doing? Is fighting?
Yeah.
And I was like 6 or 7. I had like a
You were
moment.
6 or 7?
Yeah, I was like, I had a moment. I was like, wow, I guess I'm supposed to be a fighter. Because I was like, it was then. That's what all right, I knew I wanted to fight. So then I was like, I want to box. And I see Anderson Silva like years later.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like I said, I grew up in Chicago, rough areas. We didn't have a lot growing up, so I was like, I can make something out of it. I was like, I'm really good at fighting, because I used to get bullied a lot. They will try, because
Oh, yeah.
I start fighting back.
And then it's
they-
like,
new bull. I beat that bully up. He leave me alone. Then there comes a new bully that don't know me. Then I'll fight him. Then word just got out, so
Yeah.
people just left me alone.
oh,
So
no. This is the
It's like,
ninth. This is
yeah.
the ninth bully this week that
don't
Kendrick's
mess with
knocked
him.
out.
Don't mess with him. I was so like I'll get into fights all the time. But then like I said, I didn't have a lot growing up, so I was like, I was seeing these guys they were living a lavish life. So I was like,
Yeah.
and they were fighting. I was like, I want to do that. I want
Mhm.
to help my family. I want to help them. I
Yeah,
want to make
absolutely.
sure they're taken care of. And that's still the goal for me. I want to make sure I take care of my whole like my main family, like my brothers, my sisters, my
Yeah.
mom and dad. But that's my goal until I can help take care of everybody. I'm gonna keep fighting.
Yeah.
Despite the bullshit ass losses I've have, like, I had like people in my ear like that were close to me, like, hey man, what, that shit's like fucked up, but like it's not looking good. I was like, yeah, man, it's this shit's not easy doing.
Yeah. No.
If it was easy, everybody would do it. I was like, the reward in the end is gonna be worth it. I was
Yeah.
like, if I stay with it, because I was like, dude, I know I'm not a bad fighter. I know I'm like really good, and I have the work ethic, like the work ethic behind it.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, all right, um, I'm not one of those guys that I have natural ability. And I know that. I'm
Yeah.
aware of that. But I was like, I don't rely on that solely. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I make sure I put the work in, so I don't have to rely on that. I just want to rely more so on technique
Those are
and
the
the
best. Those are
hard
the
work.
best athletes, bro. Like they
That's what
go, I got the gift, but I also am the hardest motherfucker I will
yeah.
work all the time. You will not stop me, no matter what.
Cause
It's like
I'm
that's it.
competitive, bro. Like I'm really competitive, and I think a lot of it came from the reason why I have that mindset is because when my parents separated, my dad was in another state, my mom was working all the time. And I have 6 other siblings, so my mom was working a
Got
lot.
you.
So a lot of the times, and my mom didn't like really see any value in putting us into sports or paying for anything.
Yeah.
She's like, it was stupid to her because it's like, she didn't understand it. You know what I mean?
When did you start your wrestling?
I would pay for everything myself.
Got
Like
you.
I started in middle school, so
Mhm.
what I would do is I would hustle. Like I'll go mow the lawns, break lawns, sell candy. My grandmother would buy like I asked my grandmother, so I was like, hey, I want to start making some money. You want to buy some like candy at like Costco or like Sam's Club and get in bulk. I'll sell it at school and stuff,
Oh,
or
dude,
sell it in the
genius
neighborhood.
idea. Yeah.
So like, I was a little hustler, man, in school. So like, I'll have friends in the class. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna give you some candy. I'm gonna give you some money right here. I want you to pay for it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to you for free, right? So I would give them like, so like I have like a little ass Laffy Taffy like this. I sell those for like 25 cents.
Oh yeah, but you
Or
bought it in fucking bulk.
yeah, I bought it in bulk. Those are like at the time the Laffy Taffy they were a nickel,
Yeah.
and if you get them singles by themselves at the store, they're a nickel. I'll
Mhm.
sell them for 25 cents. I
Oh, dude.
overpriced everything. I would buy a candy that we didn't have in school, overprice it, have friends in class. I'm like, hey, pay for this. I'll give you this money, pay for it in front of everybody, so they know I have stuff on me. So like,
I'm taking notes right now,
yeah,
dude. I'm over here like,
they would see the other kids buy the stuff and they're like, oh, you got that, and they'll come up to me, they're like, hey, how much for that? I'm like, all right. They're like, oh, that's a lot, but they'll buy it and they'll
yeah.
buy a bunch of it. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll like little bags of chips, dude. I was selling them for $2, and they would buy like two
Dude,
bags, and I was like, dude, I like every day I was legit making like $500. So
every day.
yeah, selling candy.
Dude, okay.
Because I was overpricing it. Like I said, I
Yes.
told my grandmother to get everything. And I gave her a list because I was like, I know what we don't have in the school. I would go in the teacher's lounge, see what they had in the vending machines, all that. I'm like, all right, they don't have this. Because sometimes the kids would sneak in the teacher's lounge and
Yeah.
go to the vending machines. Like, all right, we don't have this in the vending machine. Get this, get that. And overpriced. I was hustling because I was like, I wanted to play sports that bad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to pay for everything myself because I was like, my mom's not going to do it. She's like,
Right.
it's fucking stupid.
She's like,
So I
no,
was
I'm gonna buy all this
she's like,
candy.
she's like, no, I'm not gonna. Why do you want to wrestle? What's gonna happen if you wrestle? What's gonna have you play soccer? What's gonna happen if you, she didn't play sports.
You're like,
growing
what's
up.
on the TV over there? The people
Yeah,
on the TV.
she don't watch sports, so she didn't know. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I'll do it myself. So I would like buy my own equipment, and I would, like I said, had to motivate myself to do it. Like I said, I was the first one at practice, last one to leave, and then um I'll go home, practice extra 3 4 hours on whatever sport I was doing. I'll practice on little skills. If it was soccer, I was practice on dribbling.
Mm-hmm.
I was practice on juggling. If it was wrestling, I was practicing like my sprawls. I
Yeah.
was practicing my shots. I was dedicated, man. Cause I'm competitive. Like I said, I didn't have my parents there,
Mm-hmm.
to watch me at the game. So I was like, I see everybody else on my team. Their parents were there. So I was like, I gotta stand out.
Yeah.
I know these are my teammates, but I gotta make them look like they're not on my level. So I was
Yeah.
like, I gotta be. They're like, who the fuck is that guy right there?
Yeah.
Who's that kid? Where's his parents? They're not here. But I'm like, I'm gonna show out,
Dude,
regardless for everybody.
mad respect for you. That is an insane story. I'm so glad that that came out because I was like, I'm legit was taking notes. I was like, give the first one for free, and then the rest will follow.
That's how I will do it at every class, just like that. I'll have a friend at every class period. I will like, hey man, I give him money before we go into class. I'm like, pay for a couple things for me in front of everybody.
Yeah, make a
and
show.
I was like, you have it. It's like, don't worry about it. And like everybody looks, and then you know how kids were at like high school, middle school, you gotta stick a gum. Everybody asks.
Yeah.
But when
Hey,
they
you got a
see
pack
you,
of gum? Yeah.
they see you. Everybody wants to buy it. So I was like, yeah, I did what I had to do to be able to compete and have the things I needed. So I was like, yeah, I have that same mindset now because I'm like, all right, I'm going to grind regardless. I'm not going to ever rely on my natural abilities ever because I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to make sure I work. The only time I have done that is when I have taken like fights where I was not in the best of shape, but
Mm-hmm.
I was in good enough shape to stay technical for a little period of time. But then I was like, all right, now I have to rely on my athleticism. Now
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like doing it, but I was like, it's the only option.
Yeah.
You know, but
Well,
you-
the thing is, everything you just described, and I'm hoping that like my whole goal for like having something like this
Yeah.
is like you said, I tried to look some stuff up, and it's usually like whether it's generic questions or like other than the long one that you had,
yeah,
where it was like kind of getting more in depth. It's like there's a mindset, a character. There's something inside that makes these guys so skilled in this particular thing would be fighting, right?
yeah.
That's it right there. Everything you just described, you'll literally do anything to work for the goal that you have in front of you. I don't know what Dana. I don't know what you're waiting on.
Yeah, man.
You know, I mean,
I'm
I
always
really
ready.
don't. I don't know. Have you like? Is it because you have a great record?
We've tried contenders. Like the thing is so weird because after COVID, eh, I don't know what happened, bro. Like fighters were extra scared. When I got into fighting, I thought I was gonna be able to get fights like easy. And
Yeah.
for a long time I was because, like I said, there weren't a lot of flyweights around. So I was fighting at bantamweight and featherweight too a
Yeah.
lot as an amateur. So I was getting a lot of fights because there's like, oh, he's small.
Yeah.
So I'm like now like I put size back on
Uh-huh.
as I got older, but like now it's harder. Like when I started my pro career, I was busy, bro. I was fighting like 5, 6 times a year.
Yeah. That's I noticed that
You
too. They
know,
were like, it's hard for people. Like I get no. Like people back out, and I'm like, they can do that.
yeah.
I'm like, they do that.
Man, I get fights where guys, I'm like, dude, what's the point of fighting?
Yo.
I was like, why? I was like, why are you fighting? I was like, don't you want to be the best?
Yeah. This is
I
what you're here
want to
for.
be the best. I know I want to be the best. I'm not scared of no one.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not saying that I don't feel fear for a fight,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not scared to a point where I'm not. I'm like, no, I don't want to fight you. I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, you're the baddest dude. You're the guy knocking everybody out. I want to fight you.
I want to put myself through that.
I'm like,
test.
yeah, I want to see what it's like, what
Yeah.
it's like to be in the ring with you or be in a cage. I was like, I want to share that moment with you. I was
Yeah.
like, let's see what it's like. But like I said, I'm not scared of anyone, and I'll fight anybody. But it's gotten to the point where I get guys like, hey, you want to take that fight? I'm like, yeah, I'll take that fight. And then like, I hear they hit me back up like a day or 2 days later. Like, yeah, they changed their mind. They don't want to take that fight. They don't want to take that risk. I was like, why? A lot of people don't. I was supposed to fight. He's cool now. We're cool. I was
Okay.
I was supposed to fight.
We're cool now.
I was supposed to fight in Bellator for one of the fights. I was supposed to fight
Well, hell
fuck.
yeah.
What's his name? One of Conor McGregor's teammates. He trained at
The small kid that looks just like him with all the tattoos?
yeah. I was supposed to fight him.
No,
They,
I forgot your name. dude.
they asked me to fight him, right? I said yes.
Yeah.
They got back with me in like 30 minutes, and they was like, nah, they don't want to take that. They want to take a fight that makes sense. I was like, I make sense right now. I was like,
Yeah, dude.
I'm on a winning streak right now. I was like, yeah, I was like, dude, I fought for legit organizations. I was like, it makes perfect sense. But uh, he just after I think before that fight, he came off a knockout loss, so they didn't want to risk him getting knocked out again because
Gotcha.
I was a striker.
Yeah.
They saw me as a striker, but they didn't know I was a wrestler. But
They were like, this guy likes to grapple as well.
yeah, but they're like, yeah, we don't want to risk him getting knocked out. But he's cool out. He's actually pretty good. We train together. He's legit.
Yeah.
Um,
I've seen some fights.
yeah, he's cool. He's cool. But he would have had a problem with me. If we
Yeah. No. Well, it's funny you bring him up because I started looking up some of the guys in the gym, and one of them was Graham.
Yeah.
And I go, you fought for what? And he's like, Bellator. And I was like, it's a great experience, this and that. And he kind of left it vague.
Yeah,
so
they got Graham to fight him instead.
That was that time?
Yeah, I was supposed to fight him, and they chose to go with Graham, and I was like, all right, cool.
He's like, what did he do? He did the same thing. He just climbed up there and
no, he submitted Graham, I think, the first round, but Graham's not as much. He's not known for his striking. Graham's a jiu-jitsu guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like, the guy that Graham fought, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but he wanted to strike. So
yeah,
you know, you go against a jiu-jitsu guy, you can work your striking a little bit because you know he's not gonna strike with you. But yeah, they said no to me real quick, and there's a few fights. I was supposed to fight in the UK like three, 4 times. Getting ready to go out there. Each time, bro, the week of the fight, they called me. They're like, yeah, no explanation. They don't want to fight. I was like, why?
Dude.
We signed contracts and I signed contracts on my end, send it over.
Yeah.
And I was like, didn't they sign a contract? Why wait this long?
Oh my gosh, I would get bonkers crazy. Dude.
Yeah, I was pissed because I trained hard for it. Like I said, you see me in the gym. I don't slouch. I don't stop until everyone's done.
Yeah, that is you.
That is my mindset. When I come in the gym, I'm like, all right. I come in the gym and they're like everybody, even at the boxing gym, they're like, dude, why is your cardio that crazy? I was like, I'd wait until everyone in the gym is done.
Yeah.
I was like, I will spar and I will roll with everyone until everyone is done.
Dude, you're bringing like memories back out of this like database file, because like that's exactly it. Because I remember walking out one time and there's no one else on the mat, but like it's you and another person. You look and you go, all right, like again. And he's like, and like gets all sluggish up. You were like happy to be there. You were like, I'm gonna get some work in now, you know. And it was also like you were pushing him because I think he had a fight coming up. I can't remember who it was, but he was like, my cardio's not. It's kind of low. He's get up.
My thing is this, we're in here. At the end of the day, we fight and they're by ourselves. But the preparation is a team thing, you know? I'm going to be a great training partner for anybody. I was like, if you got to fight, I'm going to whoop your ass, but not like in a hurt you way. I'm going to push you past your limits. I'm going to try to get you to that next level. It's like, I don't have to hit anybody hard or like try to crank arm bars or anything. I was like, no, I'm just going to smother you with pressure. High volume, everything. Because I'm like, you need that. Because realistically, you're not going to, there's very few people that you're going to fight that's going to be like that. You don't run into a lot of guys that are high volume and they can take whatever you're like dishing at them. I was like, it's going to be very rare that you run into that. So I try to give them that anybody that I train with, I try to give them like, all right, I'm going to give you that. Not only am I going to give that, but I'm going to give you different looks every time.
Yep.
So I want you to be able to think and be able to adapt. Not just physically, your body is adapting to the cardio. I want because like I always tell everybody, it's like fighting is not just physical, it's mental. You have to be able to think on the fly, solve problems real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, I want you to think. So I was like, I'm not going to do the same shit. That's like when I spar with guys or I roll with them, I don't do the same shit. Right. It's like it's hard to read me because I'm always giving different looks. I'm always doing different shit. I'm doing
2 times the speed.
Yeah, doing different angles always because I'm like, you know, it helps me like practice these good habits for when you fight, because how you practice is how you're gonna go out there and fight. And it not just helps me, it helps you and whoever I train with, because like it helps you get to that next level, because you're only as good as the people you train with. You know what I mean? If
Right.
you're training with like scrubs or bums or people who are just gonna they're half-ass anything, you're gonna be a half-ass fighter.
Yeah,
You know
you're
what I
not gonna
mean?
be good at all.
You need people to push you. It's not an ego thing when you go in there and train. I always tell people like I was telling some kids at the boxing gym the other day. They're asking me the same shit, and I was like, dude, I literally come in the gym every day. My mindset is to get my ass beat.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you want to get your ass beat? I was like, if I get my ass beat in the gym, I have confidence.
Yeah.
Because I was like, for me, it's different, right? I've been doing it for a long time. So you got guys coming in new. So their mindset is a little bit different. When they're beating people's asses, they're doing good in practice, they feel like they're ready. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? In
It
my
gets
mindset,
inflated a little. Oh,
yeah, so they feel like they're ready. My mindset, like I said, I've been doing it a long time. I have a lot of fights, so I've experienced just about everything except getting knocked out. But like, I'm like, all right, I always train for the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, I want to be able to fight if I'm going through hell in a fight. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah, you're like, oh, I've been in this fire before.
yeah,
I know.
I gotta know how to stay calm. I gotta know how to fight. I gotta know how to think my way out of it. So like, my mindset is always to get my ass beat in the gym. I don't give a fuck if my girlfriend's there, my mom's there.
Yeah.
They see me I've got my ass beat in front of all of them. You know what I mean? I was like,
Right.
it's not an ego thing for me. I'm like, yo, it's for me to get better, because I'm like, if I got my ass beat in practice,
Mm-hmm.
my confidence is through the roof, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been tested
Mm-hmm.
and I feel ready for it, because I'm like, I know I've been pushing it. I've been getting pushed every day in the camp. So I'm like,
We're on the
you know
same
what I mean?
wave, man.
I don't feel bad about it. I don't go home like, oh, he beat my ass. I'm like, I go home happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. And my girl's like, she was like, what are you saying? I was like, I got my ass beat.
Well, to others, it makes no sense.
She's like, or I tell like my coworkers, I was like, dude, I just got the shit beat out of me yesterday at gym, and they're like, dude, you're in such a good mood. I was like, yes.
He needs a doctor, I think,
I
or
was
something.
I was like, dude, I got pushed. I was
Yeah.
like, that's what it is. I was like, dude, any high level fighter, you'll ask them, they're gonna tell you the same shit. They
Mhm.
want to get pushed. They don't want,
They have told me the same thing you're saying.
unless you got those guys, and there's a lot of them. You're gonna have guys who train off of just ego or like just clout. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you got the real guys who are really passionate about getting better, improving, and being the best and testing themselves. They want to get beat up in practice.
Oh yeah, they're like, come on, man, they're doing
It's-
this and doing
it's-
this.
It's just like it's like Dragon Ball Z type of thing. You know,
Hell yeah.
it's a new challenge. You want it, because
It-
you're like, it feels pointless if you're winning every time, every
Yeah.
day. It gets boring.
I think if just like how aware you are,
Yeah.
you go, well, I'm just inflating my ego and I'm not actually doing anything to improve, and then I think that's what happened. Like, have you ever heard about the Buckley story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you from that area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met him a few times. We don't know each other on a personal level, but
Yeah.
I've met him a few times. But
It's that kind of the general consensus was like, oh, it's these guys. I'm so much better, and he was like flatlining people,
Yeah.
but then there's no one who wants to show up, and he's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm good enough anyways, blah blah blah, and you're like, well, I don't think so now. In the last couple,
yeah, and it's that's the thing too. That's what it goes back to, where I say I don't be an asshole when I
Yeah.
come to sparring with anybody, because even if you're the best guy in the gym for a while, right?
Mhm.
You got to help these guys improve.
yeah,
I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to hurt anybody when we sparring or rolling. I'm like, all right, I see that you're not at that level yet. I want you to get there, because now when you get there, I want you to push me.
yeah,
Because that's
Oh, dude, that's so good.
for me, it's an investment to help me get better by helping you get better. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, once you get to that level and you caught up, I'm like, all right, now we can pick up the intensity, and
Mm.
now we're both going to get better. I don't look at it like, oh, I feel good, I just beat this dude's ass. I'm like, no, he's not there yet. So
Yeah.
I'd like these guys, they're coming in. I'm helping them. They got to fight May 5th. These two boxers, right?
nice.
And they're
Local,
local
Oh.
fighters. They're undefeated. One's about to get signed to Top Rank. So I've
like,
been,
is the fight local, like around
it's,
you?
it's local.
You need to hit me up after the show.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna. I've been helping them out. So I got some guys in the gym. They're like, oh, why don't you hit them hard? I was like, I want them to keep coming back. You know what I mean? I'm like, we get good work. We're not like tapping in there. We're hitting
Yeah.
each other hard enough, you know,
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
give each other work. So I'm like, I don't need to hurt anybody in here. I was like, that like the old school training. They try to knock you the fuck out and
Yeah.
like sparring. I was like, no, this is not today. I was like, these guys are a little bit more sensitive now.
Yeah.
Than, you know what I mean? Like you heard
But they're
somebody.
still high level. They're
Yeah,
still really good. They're
high
still
level.
working.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Not saying they're sensitive, but like just in general, like people are more sensitive than they are back then because that was the norm back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's different now. Like you hurt somebody in practice, they don't fucking want to work with you anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just I want to give people good work and I want to continue to get work myself. So
Absolutely.
you hurt people, you don't get training partners.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You know
you're
what I
not
mean?
gonna get
You
nobody.
nobody want to work with you. The word gets out. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
don't fucking work with that guy. He's gonna try to knock you out. I'm like, no. You gotta word gets out. I'm like, yeah, he's fucking good to work with. He's gonna give you solid work.
Well, then guess what? Now you have a myriad of people like,
Yeah.
ooh, I want to work with you, and you're like,
And
ooh, I want to
and
work with
that's
today.
exactly what I do. Like, I get so many messages from like, and it's funny because, like I said, I have a wrestling background. I get
Yeah.
a shit ton of boxers inbox me, like
They
they
go.
they
We
want
want
to
you.
spar. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, hey man, we heard about you, and like this has been getting around, like, cause I hang around a lot of boxers too now. Like, they think and a lot of it is true. They're like, oh, MMA fighters boxing suck, and I was like, yeah, most of them. There's a handful of MMA fighters that got really good boxing,
Yeah.
and they will say that, and I will tell them I'm an MMA fighter, and they're like, we thought you were a boxer. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm so dedicated to
Yeah.
what I'm doing, so like I fucking work every area
Mm-hmm.
of it. So I was like, yeah, I'm actually a wrestler starting now. I was like, I just worked on boxing strictly for
I would
couple
never have
years.
guessed, dude.
Yeah. And so they're surprised that I'm an MMA fighter. So they're like, they'll hit me up like, yeah, we need some sparring. We need you to help us out for this fight. I'm like, all right, I'm down, dude. I'm down. I can need the work too. Help. And that's how you get better with your. I tell the other MMA fighters like, hey man, you want to get better at your boxing? Spar with some boxers.
Yeah. Straight
I
up.
was like, they're gonna beat your ass. I was like,
Yeah.
you can't be scared. Like, you can't be scared of that.
No.
That is why we come to the gym.
Yeah, you go like this. You go, what? Excuse me. You go like, I did that after every round. I'd be like, okay.
That's
We're
why
all breathing
I
heavy.
told Nick Meck that. He's
Yeah.
like, I was like, yeah, dude, they're at your weight. They're gonna probably try to knock you the fuck out.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, hey, you get better.
Yeah.
I was like, the first few times is hard as shit. Is probably gonna be discouraging. But I was like, dude, that is the quickest way
Mm-hmm.
to get better with your boxing.
Yeah, you got to check that a little
Yeah.
bit, you know?
You do like especially like if, like I said, if you want to get better in certain area, you gotta work with peers. Like if I like I said, if I want to get better in my boxing, I'm working with nothing but boxers.
Yeah.
If I want to get better in my wrestling, I'm working with nothing but wrestlers.
Oh, yeah. There's someone, I don't know why I'm gapping the name, but someone was like, I do Muay Thai, I do boxing, I do Jiu-Jitsu, and then I think he was like, I do all those and another thing. He goes, because I want all of those to improve
Yeah.
and not have any like, oh, Jiu-Jitsu is great, but like this boxing's down. So
You gotta. I tell the amateurs now, like the amateur MMA fighters. I'm like, hey, compete in everything
yeah.
because you never know what you're gonna change your mind.
Yeah.
Because like
straight up.
I said when I was an amateur, I was mainly just gonna do MMA, nothing else. When I got pro, I was like, there's money offers, so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
to do certain things. But then like you do it and you're like, fuck, that was actually fun.
Yeah.
Cause I said before I would never do Muay Thai,
Yeah.
never, cause I just seen the way those dudes fight.
Dude, my favorite is
Yeah.
to watch those dudes fight.
And now that's why I was like, I'll
Yeah.
never fucking do it. And I did it for a lion fight, and I was like, oh my god,
The last one you just did.
no
was
no
the one
no
in
that
August?
was that one was MMA.
Oh, that
I
was
did,
MMA?
a lion fight right when I was after I had my daughters.
Gotcha.
So I didn't know training got all for that.
Well, we didn't even get to that. Okay, by the way, it's an hour and 5 minutes. Does it feel like an hour and 5 minutes?
No, it
I
didn't.
told you.
It didn't.
But I didn't. We'll get into that too. I didn't know you had daughters.
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I have my daughters, twins. So I had them at 23, and it was a surprise for me because it was like me and their mom wasn't dating. We were just working together. Just,
Yeah.
hooking up, and she like ghosted me for like 2 weeks. So I was like, all right, I don't chase
Okay,
anybody.
sure.
I'm not gonna. I was like, whatever. I don't care. I'll move on to the next.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, she randomly texted me like 2 weeks later. She's like, we need to talk. And I was like in my head, and I was like, oh shit. uh, she's either gonna tell me she's pregnant or STDs, or she gave me an STD or some shit. And I was like, I hope it's the pregnancy thing. And I was like, I hope it's a pregnancy thing. And then like, we met at a restaurant close to my place, and she was already there before me, and I didn't even get a chance to sit down. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm pregnant."
Yeah, you were like,
I'm standing, getting ready to sit down.
yeah.
I sat down. She's like, "Yeah," and it's twins, and I was like,
Okay.
I was silent for like an hour. Like, it was, dude. She was silent, just looking at me, because I was like,
It's two of them.
two,
Yeah.
two.
Right away.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, for my first time, I was like, it's two, and I was just like, quiet, and all right. And when I'm shocked or like surprised, I laugh.
Oh.
I have a laugh reaction. So I was like, all right, I gotta tell my parents. And for the longest, my mom didn't believe me, because every day I would get on the phone, I would call her and tell her I was laughing while I was talking to her, and she's like, "You're lying, you're lying." My dad didn't believe me either, because I was laughing, but I was like, "You don't know." I'm like,
They didn't believe me until they showed up.
I was like,
don't
"Mom,
know.
I'm having kids, twins," and she's like, "Stop playing with me, stop playing." I was like, "No, I'm not playing. I wish I was."
I can't stop.
I'm just laughing on the phone, just like I'm fucking dying on the phone, and she's like, "Whatever, stop playing." It hung up on me. And then she believed me, because we went to the doctors, and I sent her ultrasound pictures. She's like, "You weren't lying." I was like,
You're like,
"Yeah."
I tried.
I
tried to call.
I was trying to grasp the situation. I was like, "Oh man, it was shocking to me, because I was like, I forgot I had twins in my family. I have a lot of twins. So my daughters are the
But not you and your brother.
no, not me and my brother.
You look
Not
alike.
me and
but
my
got
brother.
it.
My daughters are the 13th set in my
The
family.
13th set of twins.
Yes, in my family.
Good gosh.
Yeah, so we have a lot, because all my older sisters had kids. They have singles before me. So I was like, I forgot we had twins.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is my luck. It would
Yeah.
be me. Twins. But yeah, now I have a son too. He's about to be 10 months.
Oh,
Next,
congratulations.
yeah,
dude.
next week. Yeah, that's exciting. He's moving around a lot. He's a lot more hyper than my daughters were.
Like,
yeah.
well, he's more hyper.
Yeah. My people thought
The
when I
twins,
said,
they were cool. They were just like,
dude,
chilling.
they're chill, bro. When they were his age, people thought like when I would tell them I have twins, they're like, I bet you have a lot. Just chase. I was like, dude, I do not chase them. I was like, they stay in the same spot. Same. I was like, most people like, and that's when I was meeting a lot of twins or twin parents. It's like, yeah, my twins, they'll just split up and run that way. I was like, dude, my twins are the exact opposite.
Yeah.
They'll stay with each other and like play in the same area.
Like, yeah, they've been
And I
there
was
for like an hour.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I'll sit back and just, I don't interfere. I'll just let them play with each other. I'll take them to the park. I was like, I'll sit back on the bench and just watch them. Like, they're in the same area.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not doing this. I don't have to like, yeah, I'll go chase one and chase the other. No. They're right here just chilling. I'm like, all right, yeah. I was like, dude, they're chilling. No, my son, he's everywhere. Everywhere.
I'm such an idiot. I should have asked that like from the get go, because now we have like a whole thing about parenting. Because I'm like, because you were talking about it with the mind part of this game.
Oh yeah, the first time, right? Okay, this is that's what I was talking about when we talked about like Trey a little bit.
Yeah. Because you had a daughter.
Sometimes it takes the edge off you a little bit when you're especially your first time having a kid and you're doing something like this competing. And that's why you seen I explained it with the Chiefs there earlier this season when Patrick Mahomes had his kid.
Yeah,
and he wasn't playing the same. I was like, dude, he just had a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, look at any athlete that just have a kid. Their performance goes down a little bit.
It does. It takes it off a little.
Yeah, it takes the edge off a little bit because they like now. Not just it takes the edge, it's stressful. Like I was like, you can be financially there, but it's still kind of stressful.
It's still a new kid.
It's a new kid, and then you got to deal with the other person, like the mother, or like you got to deal with each other.
Yeah.
So, and you got to deal with their depression and postpartum depression. Then like a lot of people don't talk about it, but men have postpartum too.
Yeah.
Cause I definitely fucking had it when
the twins.
Yeah, when I had the twins. Because before, like I said, I grew up in rough ass fucking neighborhoods. I never had anxiety before in my life or depression until I had my daughters, and I was still trying to train on top of that, and I was working like 3 jobs, and I was getting anxiety attacks in the middle of work out of nowhere, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm
Yeah.
freaking out of
Dude,
nowhere.
I had panic attacks
Yeah,
like a year and a half ago, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
yeah,
And
and
it was stress. It was
you're like
legit.
fucking stressed. Like, am I gonna be a good enough dad, or like, am I ready to do this right now? Like, all this shit's going on in your head, and you start fucking panicking. You start being depressed because you're like, fuck. You want to be you want to be involved. You want to give your kids all the shit that you didn't have. So like
Yeah.
that shit starts making like for the men, it makes them depressed, and like a lot of people
Dope.
don't talk about that.
Straight up. It does.
And that fucked with me mentally for a few fights because like I took that lion fight and I wasn't training at all, and I wasn't like mentally there. And
Mhm.
then like I said, it was a few fights I wasn't mentally there, and I was just like, usually every fight, like I said, I feel fear for the fight, but I'm not scared of the person.
Mhm.
Those few fights that I had after I had my daughters,
Mhm.
I felt no fear.
You felt no fear?
No fear at all. For me, it was just I was just there,
Dang.
and it was like, my adrenaline wasn't going anything, so I could feel everything.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it wasn't freaking me out to wake me up like, oh fuck, I'm in a fight.
Yeah.
I felt like my body was in autopilot mode because I've
Yeah.
done it so long, so it already knows how to fight. But my mind
Dude,
wasn't
I see
there.
what you're saying. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah. Now this time around, it's different. When I have my son, I know
Mhm.
how to deal with it. I didn't have the depression and none of the anxiety that I did the first time. I know how to deal with it. So it's like, all right. I was channeling it in the gym, and it gave me some motivation because I was like, yeah, my kids I have to win for them. I want them to see me successful in this. I want
Yeah.
them to be able to take them I want to travel the world, be able to take them places with me. Cause dude, I don't drink. I don't smoke. A lot of people that I hang out with knows that I just don't find any interest in it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I said, I try to work on my craft, man. I'm competitive. I
Yeah.
do everything that I can that will help me out. Like, and to me, that stuff don't help me out.
No.
So like every now and then, if somebody invite me to go out, I'll go out. But like most of the time, I just work in the gym.
Yeah.
It's the same
You're
thing.
disciplined. Like that's
Yeah.
part of the gig, and like the same thing happened when I was like, I had to take like a picture of this, or like, hey, I can't do this. I'm busy in
Yeah.
here till 11, 12, whatever. And they were like, oh, you probably got like parties and do this. I'm like, haven't drank in like 6 months, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm disciplined.
Yeah.
It's you gotta have that thing. And then for me, something when I had my kiddo was like, it's always stressful getting, because I was 16,
Yeah.
so I was like, okay. And when he was young, he had a lot of health problems, and we were at Children's Mercy for like 6 months, like right after he was born.
Yeah.
And they did like emergency surgery on him the next day, and they were like, he's got a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
And I was like 16 going, what? Voice is cracking. What?
Yeah.
Like it's
hard, bro.
it hits you right away. And then I didn't know where it was, but I knew if I stayed disciplined in something that I could find like joy and fulfillment in,
Yeah.
like you are with fighting, I'm like, you know what? This is generational at this point. Now I'm
Yeah.
gonna have something that will pass down, even if it's the lessons learned.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about my kid doing code and stuff in here.
Yeah.
So that used to be set up in a different way, and I used to have another like janky computer, but he was
Yeah.
doing work on there. And I was like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm working just like you, Daddy.
Yeah.
So even though he's here with me and I'm just editing kind of quiet for an hour or two,
Yeah.
he sees that I'm invested in it. And that lesson passed to him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, dude, you have no idea what things get passed down like that.
Kids always watch, man. They're always watching, and I always tell like people like or new parents was like, yo, even the old parents like I get some of them come in with their kids. I was like, hey man, just this is their stuff. Just kind of lay back. I was like, let them. If you want them to do this,
Mm-hmm.
don't force it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, they're gonna want to do it. Cause I get asked this a lot. It's like, you want your kids to fight? I'll be like, hell no, I don't want them to fight. I was like, not because I'm afraid of them getting hurt. It's not that they're gonna get hurt. Whatever they're doing, any sport, you know what I mean? It's the mental, like, fucking drainage that it does to yourself. I was like, dude, it's stressful doing it. I was like, if you're not mentally tough, the politics alone will fucking make you want to quit.
That's the thing that was bugging me the most, because for me, like from someone who had no idea about contracts or any of these negotiations, I thought if you signed, like I say yes,
Yeah.
and you guys are like, okay, we'll send a contract over. That was it. And then I'm seeing people like, the one that hit me the most was when Gomi was going to 125.
Yeah.
On that, it was another like one more amateur.
Yeah.
And he cut all the way down. And I mean, he very disciplined with his diet and everything.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he's onto a T. But it just, even the look of him in the sauna, like upset that the day of the fight he didn't get to do it. I'm like, I can't imagine the emotion. Like, it's intense. I didn't know there was so much politics like that.
Oh, it's a lot more, man. There's a lot of layers to the politics. Other than that, I would say that sucks, but that's the minimum of it. Like, I wouldn't say that's the hardest thing, because like I said, he's gonna get used to it. He's new to it. He's Gomi has like what was he, 8-0, 9-0 as a pro? Emmy,
yeah.
Right? So he's still kind of a baby to the game a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he don't fight like
No, he don't fight like it at all.
No.
Gomi's a fucking beast.
Oh my gosh.
He's well rounded. He can fight anywhere. But like I said, he's a baby to the game still right now. So he's not that part right there of the politics where fighters are dropping out, and he's gonna have that because he's so fucking good.
Yeah, dude.
There's gonna be guys that are not going to fight him. he's like I said, he's good everywhere.
Yeah.
Because like the sport's evolving. You like when I started, you was either a good wrestler or a good striker. You weren't good at everything. Now you get like everybody's good everywhere now.
Yeah.
So it's like fucking, how the fuck do I beat this guy?
Yeah. Oh, you don't.
I'm saying, like, you got guys thinking that when they look at guys like Gomi.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna run into that a lot.
Can I ask you a question about the politics with Gomi? Like in his example in this situation?
For sure.
Okay. So if he does his pro career and goes 4, 5, 6-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there people that are just gonna stop? He's not gonna find anyone who wants to take the challenge and then just be caught in this long period of his peak career?
No, I think because where he's at, he has good people around him.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll have that problem. If he gets to 4-0 or even 5-0 or 6, I wouldn't even say 4-0. I would give him like more like 5-0 or 6-0. He'll probably get the call from the UFC.
Yeah.
Just because he has the right people around him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's part of the politics too. That's do you
know that guy? Yeah, he works with this guy.
Yeah, that's the stressful part. Like not everybody's going to want to fuck with you. You know what I mean? And that part there, I feel like that's harder than a fighter back. Because he wrestled. Gomi's a wrestler too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of used to it in wrestling because we get buys in wrestling where we'll show up to a tournament and we don't have a match at all because there's no, like, one school, they don't have a full lineup. So we don't have anybody in that bracket. Yeah, so we cut weight and everything, get to the school. Oh, yeah, they don't have nobody in your bracket. So, fuck. We're like, oh, we don't wrestle today?
You wouldn't wrestle at all?
Yeah, no. Wouldn't wrestle at all.
Oh, my gosh. That would be suck so bad, dude.
So, like, I'm kind of used to that where I'm not, like, fucking pissed off about it. I'm like, all right, that's the same as wrestling. Yeah. It sucks because I'm like, you put more time into it, like the training, and I'm not cutting as much weight anymore. So I'm like, all right, the weight cut wasn't that bad for me, but I was like, shit, I would love to have, especially as a pro, I'm like, I would love to have fought and get that money because now doing this is very expensive. Yeah. It's like you gotta pay for gym. You gotta pay your corners. You gotta pay your management. You gotta pay nutrition. Mm-hmm. You gotta pay for like strength and conditioning. Like all that shit's expensive, man. Like they don't look forward to that fight to help bring that shit back.
Well,
you know what I mean?
For you, it's like it's like, what is it like? Not like you need this guy the nameless guy in this April 22nd card. It's like we're just keep warm. You know what I mean? You're like I got to move these. Yeah. It's just like. That period of time where it's just like no one fights. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's so weird, man. I was like, and the reason why is because of the politics is ruining the game a little bit. Because
that's why I don't like boxing.
It's MMA starting to get there.
Yeah,
it's getting over into MMA where now they're getting guys that pad their records, and I was like, that's so fucking stupid. I wish it wasn't like that at all. But the fans are to blame a little bit too because now it's 50-50 with fans and like organizations because like the way they promote fighters and they always promote the ones who are undefeated. Everybody want to be undefeated, don't want to lose. So they make it look
Yeah.
like these guys are the baddest. But in reality, they're not.
Mm-mm.
Most of them. Some of those guys are actually legit, the undefeated guys.
Yeah.
But then you get those guys that will fight anybody that has the losses on their record. Those motherfuckers, you got to watch out for because they're not scared.
No.
They'll take the risk. They'll fight you. They're going to make sure you're in a fucking dogfight.
Let me just pitch this real quick. I'm telling you right now, Creed 2, okay?
Yeah.
Creed 2, he lost, and then he had to, like, fight through that shit and then
Yeah.
get back to it. Is that Rocky 2 as well?
Yeah, man.
Isn't that
it was Rocky 2.
Yeah. Well, I
But-
guess they just ripped off Rocky 2 and made it Creed 2, so.
I mean, it's the same. Like, they're the same franchise. So,
Hey,
you know, same storyline.
That's my
I
shit.
feel like you need that. I feel like if the fans weren't so much invested in, that guy's undefeated, we got to watch him.
Yeah.
But watch everybody, dude. Like,
Yeah.
this shit's not easy. We're getting in there.
Fuck
We're
no.
fucking training our ass off and then getting in there a fight. It's like, dude, I want to see good fights. I don't give a fuck what your record look like. If you can fight, bro,
I'm down.
as a fighter, like even before I started fighting, I always wanted to see great fights. I was like, I didn't care if they were undefeated. I was like, if that dude could bang, I'm going to watch this guy because I was like, he's exciting.
Yeah, you could, like, if I can go back and be like, whoa, and like look at these,
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe it's like, oh, the record's not undefeated, or like maybe one loss, but it's like, but this dude will give a show. He'll put it on.
Yeah,
you know.
and that's like I said, that's the politics behind it that's part of it, is that where they care how you look on paper instead of
Fuck off.
fucking the actual fight.
This
you
is
know what
going
I mean?
on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, Dana. This is coming right at you. Okay, like for real. Because an example is like Isaac Dolgarian.
Yeah.
Right, undefeated 5060, and then UFC, and I'm like, excuse me, we have this guy over here.
Yeah, but Isaac's a beast though too. He's a beast, but like yeah, he should fight. I think he hasn't been tested yet,
Yeah,
and I feel like he will be
Perfect area.
tested in the UFC. But you know, at that level, I'd rather have already got tested before and then go in there and then, you know what I mean? Because it kind of messes with you. Like, you know, you're undefeated for a little bit and then you get tested.
yeah.
Like I said, we all were undefeated. I was undefeated for a while and then I
Yeah.
got tested, you know? Like, shit, fuck, it happens.
It's just how you take it after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you have just like, this whole podcast was awesome because I connect with everything you've said, and now I'm more motivated. And it's early in the Sunday, so I'm like, let's get all of it. What are we gonna do today? But I was gonna ask you take a boxing. You do boxing where?
Pound for pound.
Pound for pound?
Yes.
Where's that at?
That's right off, it's in Overland Park, right off 103rd.
Sweet. Is there like a class schedule? Like if I want to go in?
Yeah. We have classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They're all at 6:30. And most of the time, I'm trying to get like going kickboxing classes up there and run the kickboxing classes because I wanna utilize the gym all day.
Okay, I'm your first student.
Yeah, man.
I'm the first student.
Instead of I like private lessons because I do have to. I do get a chance. Like I said, I love technique, bro.
Yeah.
I do get a chance to go over a technique with one person because
Right.
like you can really get into detail with it, and you can't really do it with a class.
Yeah.
You can go over shit like the gist of it, but like to really get into the detail, I like the one-on-ones because of that. But I want to be able to like just have huge classes every day, all day.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's what I want because I'm like, you know, it's fun being in there, man. Like the culture is so fucking great in that gym, bro. I always tell like people like, what's it like? And I was like, dude, it's like a cookout in there every day.
No way.
I was like,
sweet.
that's how it feels to me. I was like, I'm at a family cookout. We're having fun, but we're working. Dude,
I love it.
You're getting fucking work in there. Like I told a couple of guys at Glory. Me and Alex said it. I don't know if a couple of them got butt hurt. It was at OP. I was like, yo, some of the kids would whoop your ass in there. I was like, those kids. I was like, you gotta think about it. When you're a teenager, bro, and you're going with like pro fighters and they're adults,
Yeah.
you have a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, you do.
You're like, I want to prove myself to you.
Mhm.
So they're not fucking scared. They're
No.
dude.
They
they're
haven't gone
coming-
through anything yet.
Yeah, they're coming at your ass in practice. So it's
Yeah,
like, you know, like fucking, I go with some of the adults. They're a little bit timid to go with me sometimes,
hesitant.
or they don't want to go with me at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. I was like, I'm just trying to help you out. I want to get work too as well, but I'm like, it doesn't benefit you not going with anybody that's better than you. But like, the kids there, fuck no, exact opposite. Because I was like, that's how I was when I was a kid. I was like, when
Yeah.
I was a teenager, I remember my first,
I'm gonna die in here, dude.
my freshman year, wrestling. We had this heavyweight, fucking state champ 4 years in a row. And dude, strong as shit, dude. He's like benching 500 in there.
Good
Like,
God.
he was strong, bro. I went to school with a great colleague too. His son. And
Are you
he's-
serious?
Yeah, he was benching 500 too. He's a big fucking dude. His hand
Yeah.
was the size. His fist was the size of both mine. So just one.
Fuck.
So like fucking, dude. Everybody was scared of them. I was not. I would talk shit to them in practice just to piss them off because
Oh.
I'm like, I want you to whoop my ass here. Or try to, because I was like, I want to test myself, see how good I am. So I was
You
like,
know-
I want to be the best guy in here. So I was like, you guys are the most feared motherfuckers in the school and in the wrestling room.
You
So
guys
I
are
was like,
Goliath. All right.
yeah, so
Let's
I was like-
David go over there.
if I could whoop your ass once, just
Yeah.
once in here.
I
was
take
like-
your spot.
Yeah, I was like, I did exactly. That was my mindset, and that's what the kids have. They
Yeah.
have that when they see me or any other like adult pro fighters. They're like, I want to fucking dude. They beg me for work. They're like, bro, you want to spar? You want to spar? You want to go some more rounds? I'm like, yes,
You're like, of course I do.
of course. I'm like, the adults, they're just fucking done when they're done, dude. Like they get tired and they're like, I'm gonna call it a day. I was like, fuck, all right. I can still go.
I've
but I was
got
like,
some
yeah.
leaves to rake and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they're like, there's like, oh, I'm tired. I was like, working. I was like, yeah, I got work too, and I got
Dude,
kids.
bro,
So I was
I
like,
remember, when I was 16, I was like, I felt like I was on speed while not on speed. I was like, phew, phew, phew,
Yeah.
phew. I was like, I can do anything, do this. Nothing's hit you yet. And so you're like legit, like, I'll die in here, man. Like, but I'll
Yeah,
get good
man.
work on the way out.
the kids will give you fucking work, bro. Like it's just both 15-year-olds, two in there. Melvin, his son, Melvin Jr. He's a fucking beast, bro.
Yeah. Well, most people can't handle getting their ass kicked by a 15-year-old
He's-
either.
Yeah, he's a beast. And then this other kid, Nehemiah, he is fucking a stud, bro. Well, I say like he has power for his age, and man,
Is he big? Or is he-
he's like he walks probably on like 140, fights at like 130,
my-
135. Dude, hits hard. Hits hard. And I'm like, I have to tell myself sometimes like he's a kid. I can't hit him hard like that bad.
Yeah, you're like-
but I give him a little bit of power. So I was like, kids, you fight other guys your age or a little older, they're gonna hit you hard. So
Right.
I don't pacify them
Yeah.
when they're in there. I give them fucking work back. So I was like, all right,
Right.
I'm gonna give you some experience work. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not.
Let me
I'm
give you some experience.
I'm not gonna hurt you in here, but I'm gonna give you some experience. I know how to work and give your ass some fucking work without
Yeah.
hurting you. So I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
I hit you hard back, but not where it's gonna hurt them. So I was like,
That's perfect for them because
Yeah.
they're so adaptable too.
oh fuck.
So
yeah.
if you do volume work, then they have to figure out ways
they're
to
still
slip
coming,
and
they're
move.
still coming at me, dude. Like,
Yeah. It's-
they're not stopping. So I love working with them because it's like, they're not scared. They're
Yeah.
gonna fucking get that work and they're gonna push you as well.
Because like I say, when I saw like you were there, Lima, and some of these guys were going for the individual work,
Yeah.
I was like, they look like sharp. Like not that they didn't before, but it's
Yeah.
like when you start like carving the stone, you were like, ooh, I'm seeing like the picture. I'm seeing the whole thing, and I'm like, it's getting better. It's looking more high def. Like I'm like, look at that. Like
Yeah.
even like a little movement of like an elbow on an extension, you're like, oh, that's not gonna be a problem anymore. You're getting
Yeah,
full
yeah.
range, And I'm like, I legit was like, I'm gonna stop in there. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, my golly.
That's
Monday,
good,
Wednesday,
man.
Friday.
Yeah. Monday,
Okay.
Wednesday, Friday, and then like if you want to do like private lessons, like I said, it's any time you want to be in there. I always tell people, I was like, yo, it's on your time. They're like, what time do you prefer? And I was like, what time do you?
Well,
want?
are you okay? Are you telling me you take private lessons anytime?
Yeah.
Like after like,
Anytime. It could be fucking 1 a.m, 2 a.m, or fucking 6 a.m.
got it. We'll talk because now
Yeah.
I'm feeling very motivated.
Yeah,
to
dude,
check
like,
it out.
Well, I always tell people, they're like, what time do you prefer? I'm like, dude, it's your workout.
Yeah.
It's what fucking time works for you. And then like we get in there, I'm like, hey, what do you want to listen to? That's like, what do you want to play? I was like, this is your fucking workout.
Yeah.
What music? I don't give a fuck what you
This is
listen
your
to.
lesson, bro.
I was like, this is your workout. I was like, you're coming in here. I don't care. I'm here to work you out. And I was like, that's it. I'm here to help you learn. I was like, I don't care what I listen to. I was like, some people want to have a little extra motivation. Music is a motivation. So I was like, what do you want to listen to? What
Mhm.
helps you? What helps get you going? Because some people get tired. You're going to get tired working with me. I make people move a lot.
Oh,
You
good.
know what I mean? I was like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to pacify anybody. I want you to get better. Like, if I pacify you, you're not getting better.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to kill you. It's like, you're going to know after you left, you had fucking a workout.
Yeah.
You're going to feel it.
That's perfect. I can't end that any better. But Kendrick, bro, I appreciate getting to know you a little better.
Yeah,
Your
for sure.
story and resonating with you on this level. Like, it's just when you have people like that, I'm more motivated.
Yeah, for sure.
And
man.
I thought I was already a motivated individual, and now I'm like, fucking let's work.
I like to motivate and I like to be inspired as well. You know, I get inspiration from everybody. I like seeing people successful and just pursue their dreams. So whatever make them happy. It don't even have to be fighting. I see somebody like you do this, they're fucking passionate about it. That shit motivates me, man.
Oh, guess what? You gave me a challenge. I
Yeah.
just beat it.
You did.
Hour and 31 minutes.
It didn't feel like that.
I know. Okay.
Yeah,
At the end of this year, there's going to be a cultivation of all these things going, what? I'm like, it's been an hour and a half. They're like, no, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Like, I had
felt
one
like
dude
30
tell
minutes.
me, oh, it was Josh Byers, who
Yeah.
does the center. He goes, I actually have no recollection of time at this moment.
Yeah.
It was like 2 hours long. I'm like, don't you guys have to be somewhere? He's like, his girlfriend's over there. He's like, yeah. And she's like, a while ago. I'm like,
yeah, I don't got nothing to do today, dude. Like I told you, the errand kind of sprung on me this morning
you
because of like last night event. So I was like, all right, I gotta go do this real quick before I come here.
Oh,
But,
you
yeah,
good.
I had nothing planned at all today.
Well, perfect. I'm just glad that I was able to be your longest interview podcast.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It was fun talking.
Oh, you come back then.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, sweet.
For sure.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you, Kendrick. Thank you, man.
Thank you.